Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Wednesday morning. It is hump day. I told you all yesterday it was Tuesday, and I said, ooh, one day closer to the weekend. Well, today is Wednesday, and we are even closer. And that is a sweet, sweet feeling. It'll be sweeter once it gets here, and we can roll into the weekend, hopefully with some good vibes, some good energy. So listen, man, I tell you what. There is something about being in this space right here, just outdoors, watching the trees, just like a little teeny rustle, not too windy, birds chirping. Uh, Sometimes I sit and I listen and I say, are they talking? Like, what are they saying to each other? They've got a call and response, and there's some kids over in the background that I can hear being playful and having some fun. I guess there's a church behind me, and there it's probably daycare or summer programs getting ready to kick in. But I wanted to share this because I think that this is such an opportune time for us. I just literally looked at a message from a friend, and she said, I'm being more intentional about my self-care. And so I wanted to just share this space with you this morning for a couple of reasons. I'm really excited about what this time means for me and hopefully what it will mean for you as well. So, when we think about wellness and well-being, healthy living, there's really a number of different components around it. So if you're in a position where maybe you can jot some notes down, or you can come back to this if you just happen to be listening and maybe you're in the car, you're busy doing something else, be sure to make a note, to jot these things down when you come, because a lot of times when we think about taking care of ourselves, we kind of have a narrow view of what that means. Of course, it means physical well-being. It is how are we taking care of our body, and that includes what we're eating, what we're drinking, how much sleep are we getting. You've heard me say that before, so that probably sounds familiar to you if you've been in this space in conversation with me before. But there's an emotional component to it that we sometimes miss, and that is what kind of filters are coming into our space. How are we processing that? Are we doing the things that are fulfilling to us, that bring us joy, that are moments of gratitude? When you think about what we experienced last week with the um, mass shooting in Uvalde, that was something that triggered our emotional well-being. And so now we have to try to shift out of the emotional space from that or any other situation that really takes a toll on us, and check in with ourselves to understand how important it is to allow ourselves to feel, but to also allow ourselves to gravitate towards something that's going to make us feel better. So that is emotional well-being. And then there's the spiritual well-being. And a lot of times people talk about or only reference the spiritual well-being as it's connected to uh, a church or a type of religious practice. Now, that is just one component. Now, I will tell you that yes, I believe in God. Yes, I believe in Jesus Christ. That is the foundation of my faith, and that is part of my spiritual well-being. But I also recognize too that part of spiritual well-being is about this moment right here, like sitting here taking in nature, because what this reminds me of is that this is God's beauty all around. And there's something about God's beauty that brings a certain kind of peace. It's almost like it undergirds you. If you are building a house, you first start with the foundation, right? Um, if you're planning an event, you start with the foundation, the basics, and then you build up to the actualization of that event. Well, to me, spirituality is sort of like that, because there's a foundation that each and every one of us has or has the opportunity to strengthen. And that is a part of our well being. And so being intentional in all of those areas is really what brings us into alignment with this level of healthiness that all of us deserve. And so in order to do that, I was listening to something, and I've heard this several times, and I thought I've never really heard the word broken down like this. But if you think about the word satisfaction. So what I discovered, and I want to share this with you because I was like, oh, that was an aha for me, is that the word satis in Latin means enough. Okay. So at the end of the word satisfaction is the word action, ACTION. So if you break it up and you say, well, if satis means enough, and at the end of satisfaction is the word action, then that means enough action on our part is what allows us to experience the types of emotional, physical, spiritual well being that puts us in position for us to have and be the healthiest and best version of ourselves. Does that make sense? So if you're coming into the conversation, if you're here with me live, I appreciate it. If you happen to see the replay, then yes, I do want you to hashtag replay. But I want you to think about that, like satisfaction, enough action. So sometimes we're in a place where we're unsatisfied or dissatisfied because we haven't put enough action behind whatever it is that we say we want for ourselves. And so when we think about this notion of healthy living, well-being, how can I be healthier than what I am right now? How can I enter into this place of wellness and well-being where I can truly say that I'm putting in enough action in order for me to feel that, to experience that. And I think this is a time for each of us to ask the question, am I putting in enough action? Am I really like putting my money where my mouth is? That could be literal or figurative, however you choose to take it, in order for me to experience this thing called wellness. In order for me to like be in this space where I'm intentionally finding spaces to clear my mind, where I'm intentionally finding the opportunity to take care of my body, where I'm intentionally connecting with a spiritualness about me, whether that's sitting out in nature, whether it's praying to the God that you believe, whether it's practicing meditation, all of those things are spiritual practices. And so today is a good day to say now, with everything that's happening in my space, everything that's going on around me in the world, am I being intentional enough to seek out that which helps me to be healthier? And be honest with yourself, because all of us could find something. I know for me, one of the things that I am being more intentional about, and this is really, really a practice that's going to challenge me, and that is to make sure that I am getting at least, now I get about 6 hours of sleep, but I'm trying to bump that up to like 7. So case in point, last night I was winding things down, and I'm watching there's a series called Unsung, documentary about groups from the past and what they're up to, and how the music industry changed the trajectory of their lives or what have you. So I was watching an episode last night, and the last one went off. Now I could watch them back to back, and I know I can do that, which means if I'm watching back to back, sometimes I lose track of time. Well, last night one ended, and I looked at my phone and I said, "Oh, it's 11:30," so I shut it all down. And that was a huge win for me because I'm like, oh, if I just watch one more episode, if I just watch one more episode, well, before I know it, it's like 12:30. So being intentional about how we show up for ourselves and how we take care of ourselves, it is absolutely imperative. And so that is why I want to uh, I want to share this with you because this is the halfway point of the year. Can you all believe today is June the 1st? Like it is 6 months into the year. And so this is a good checkpoint to say, okay, what have I been doing up to this point? And most of us could probably say, yeah, this is what I've been doing up to this point, and here's where I could do a little bit better. What have I been doing up to this point to take care of myself? Remember, I say, and I want you to remember that transformation begins. It starts when we start to break down some of the barriers, some of the things that's holding us back, some of the things that we're telling ourselves. When we start to deal with some of that stuff, then that's when we can find the true essence of ourselves. That is mind, body, spirit, emotional, physical well-being. So if to this point we've been making excuses and saying I don't have time, or I haven't done it in such a long time, I don't even, if to this point 6 months into the year you've been telling yourself something, or you've been believing some myths from days of old, then this is a good time to check in and even being intentional with your thoughts. Like, what am I thinking about myself? What am I thinking about what it means for me to take care of me? And really start to shift that language. So, yes, you heard me yesterday put out a call to action for those of you who say, you know what, I'm ready to have some fun with this thing. I'm ready to level up. I'm ready to just be intentional. So that if I'm intentional for a span of time, then there is a heightened possibility that I will continue to do it because I understand how it feels to be consistent with something. So, on yesterday, I put out a call. I'm putting it out today that for those of you who want to have a little bit of fun with me, June the 20th through the 26th, and really focus on that week being specifically dedicated to you, to take care of you, and you want to share it out in your social media communities, then join me as a self-care collaborator. Well, what does that mean? I'm so glad that you asked. It is someone who is willing to say, you know what, for those 7 days, I'm going to not just be intentional about what I'm doing to practice self care, but I'm going to share it out in the community that you and I get to share together because it helps me to be consistent with my self care, helps you to be consistent with yours. And lo and behold, everybody in your community who sees what you're doing for those 7 days hopefully will say, you know what? Let me go on and be more intentional about taking care of myself because I see the how important it is. That how I see that it is important. I see how important it is. You see how that ran together? Hello, cousin. Happy Wednesday to you. Good to see you. So for those 7 days, now listen. Yesterday, I said I'm looking for 10 people who will join this little crusade with me. So today, I'm only down, I think there's 5 other spots left. So if you say, yeah, I'm ready to take on this self-care challenge, I'm ready to do this thing because it is so freaking important for me to take care of myself right now. I'm ready. And it's simple because all you got to do is share what you're doing. You might get up and decide, you know what, I'm going to make myself a healthy breakfast this morning. You might get up and decide, I'm going to go for a walk today. You might say, I'm going to watch something that makes me laugh. I'm going to give myself a facial. Those are all different kinds of things that feed into self-care. I'm going to read something that uplifts me. And when you do that, guess what? You're posting about it. So you could do a Facebook Live, you could do an Instagram Live, you could post a reel, you could post a story, you can take a picture, a snapshot, and post it. And that's as simple as it is, right? Now, frog in my throat. When you do it, this is the fun part that when you're sharing, guess what? I'm going to ask you, yes, to wear a handy dandy hat that when you say yes, you get that for free. I send it to you because that's the fun. So we're collectively doing it together. You're sporting your hat, doing your thing. I'm doing the same thing. We're sharing about it. And hopefully people are saying, you know what? Let me get in on this self-care thing. Because I've been holding out on myself too dang long, and it's too much going on in this world for me to keep on holding out on myself. I got to take care of me. Because I know it's stuff that you have to do on a regular basis that doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in the world. The stuff that's going on outside of your household and mine is just extra added stuff. But I know you got bills to pay, you got children to take care of, you got grandchildren, you got a job, you got a business, you got a this, you got a that, and all that stuff is continuing. It's a non-stop cycle. So when you and I get to own our self-care and our well-being, then it puts us in a much better position to deal with all the other things that come along with this thing called life. All right, so that's the first thing. So if you are interested in collaborating with me June the 20th through the 26th, then I do encourage you. You can respond to this live and say, hey, count me in. You can send me a DM and say, hey, I'm with it. And I'll give you some other details because along with that comes some other little special things. And then I'll get your address and I'll send you your hat and you'll be good to go. So starting that week, it's like you and I, we are on and popping, working through this thing together. And then here's the other thing I want to share, and then I'm going to let y'all go. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have really been excited about this for a while. Um, I've mentioned it, and I just want to say it's officially official. Yep, those two words together. So July the 27th kicks off the start of my online program, Healthy Living, a holistic approach to self-care and well-being. Now, I just mentioned what goes into this thing called healthy living. It is emotional, it is physical, it is spiritual, and so many things connected to that. And so, what I'm excited to share is that it gives us a broad perspective of what healthy living is all about. And so you're going to be hearing more about it later on today, but I at least wanted to give you a heads up right now, to be on the lookout for it. And I really want you to ask yourself right now that since we are at this halfway point of the year, ask yourself, is what have I been doing up to this point, and can I do even more to really embrace this concept of what it means to live healthy? And I'm not just talking about food. I'm not just talking about, exercise and diet and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to say nutrition because sometimes diet has a negative connotation because we go about it in a way that's really not the healthiest way for us to maintain our body. That's another conversation. But there's so much in this program that I'm excited about because it really gives us a broad picture of what does it really mean to embody healthy living. So you're going to hear me talk about it. You're going to see a post later about it. I was like, what is this woman doing? But I'm sitting right by the clothing drop off. So she has stuff to drop off. But anyway, I got distracted. So reel it back in. Um, so yeah, so I really am excited about that. And the reason why is because I think that now more than ever is a good time for us to say, you know what? We got one body, one mind. And so it is our responsibility to treat it with honor, with grace, with dignity, with care, with consideration, with intention, like all of those things. And so that's what this program is about. We're going to have fun with it. I've got lots of stuff that I've prepared and put together and packaged, and that's why I'm excited. Hell yes, that's why I'm excited because it's time, y'all. It's time. It's time. It's time. Stop holding out on yourself. You might say, well, why do I need to consider that? Why do I need to consider jumping into June 20th through the 26th to be talking about what I'm doing for myself and how I'm honoring myself that week? Well, here's what I'll say. And that is number one, if you're already in a rhythm and you're taking care of yourself, well, this just helps you to stay consistent, number one. Number two, you might be saying, you know what, I really haven't been doing all that I could be doing to take care of myself. So this is a little something that could push you to the next level to do that. And as I said before, number three, it is about sharing this message out with other people so that they too understand how important it is to take care of themselves. So that's why. And you might say, well, why would I even think about this whole healthy living, holistic approach to self-care and well-being? Okay, why would I even think about that? Well, because it really helps you to grab a hold of all of the pieces. Like, I think we go through our day-to-day routines and we just don't realize how little things feed into our well-being. You could be having a conversation with somebody and their energy is just not is not good. And it could be draining you to the point where you say, well, damn, now I'm feeling like I can't put things together, and I'm that's brought my spirit down. So not only do conversations and people and situations feed into the healthy living component, but it's about the food and the exercise and all that other stuff. So it all comes together, which is the holistic approach. Once we understand that, then we are better positioned, better equipped to say, okay, now I got the whole package. Now I know every single thing that goes through the course of my day really feeds into my wellness and well-being. Oh, okay, oh, that's a part of it too. Oh, I didn't realize that when I'm in the grocery store and I hear some conversation that I don't like jump into it with the negative energy that somebody else has. Oh, that feeds into my well-being and my healthy. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So anyway, so you will see the information coming out about that later, probably around noontime. But I just wanted to give you a heads up so that when you see it, you're not like, oh, what's this? I'm telling you right here, right now. And you get to decide, right? You get to decide. So everything is not for everybody. I get that. So if you are cool with what you're doing and how you're going about it, then you stay with what you're doing. But if you say, yeah, you know what, I need to up level because I've been sleeping on myself and I just been tripping and just chilling and like making excuses and all this kind of stuff, then you might want to say, all right, let me think about what this might mean for me going forward. Okay, I said a lot, I know. So I appreciate you all being with me. I'm going to sit out here for another few minutes because I got my journal with me. And I'm just going to write as I listen and watch and sit and be. And then I'm going to go on and keep it moving for the rest of my day. Definitely going to include a shower because by the time I get back in the house, oh yeah, it's going to be time. So anyway, I appreciate you all so very much. Again, if you're interested in collaborating with me on the self-care project, June the 20th through the 26th, have a little bit of fun and go ahead and DM me, or you can reply to this video and then be on the lookout because today is the official launch. Oh, what I didn't say is that the Healthy Living Program kicks off on July the 27th. So July the 27th. So you'll see all the details about it. I, just wanted to give you a heads up to be on the lookout, be thinking about what you might want to do for yourself. And even if you say neither one of these things is for you, then I encourage you to stay connected in the process of sharing the conversation, of seeing what, we're up to, what we're doing, because it might spark something in you to say, hey, you know what? All right, let me get on the bandwagon. Let me get on my bandwagon because it's necessary. It's needed. My health depends on it. Hell, my very life could depend on it. Now let's chew on that for a minute. Okay? So anyway, I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you all again real soon. Until I do, take care of yourselves and yes, be well. Mwah.